Here, it helps, I learned, if you unmute the mic before you talk. It's a new thing. What's up, guys? Happy Saturday night, headed into Sunday morning, our first Sunday slate of the baseball season. Trying to get out my screen set. How about them Yankees? Oh, what a crazy day. We kind of went to bed last night after researching, knowing it was going to be a middling slate for pitchers. No one really wowed you. A couple of the guys that we were leaning on, though, Jesus Luzardo, he did really good. Happy with that one. And then Little from the Rays, he was the top of my pitcher projections earlier today. Anchored onto those two. Really solid day. Man, Castline was just nuked from the get-go, though. It's crazy to see a baseball slate essentially just done in the first inning of the first three at-bats, man. Wow. And Goldie, Bellinger, Judge, homer on the first literal three pitches of the game. Austin Wells gets him one. It was just it was a record-setting day for the Yankees. And a lot has been made of the special bats some of the Yankees are using, namely Anthony Volpe. It sounded like he's the reason why they adopted these new bats, and essentially, I guess whoever's way smarter than me was like, Volpe keeps hitting balls off the label. We should put more wood there. So they like reshaped the bat. It's all illegal. It's all within the dimensions and weight that MLB sets forward. So I'm sure within a couple of years, we're going to see every organization offering that up. But we'll see it play out. I like the idea that the Yankees are innovative, but like, let's not pretend Nestor Cortez. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, what are we doing? Aaron Judge doesn't need a wiffle ball bat to make contact. Come on now. What up, Quinn? What up, Josh? What up, Pinstripe? Steven? Anthony? What I liked more than the three dongs was that Cortez ERA after three pitches with infinity. It's infinity after one pitch. But yeah, three pitch. It's not what you want. Honestly, it's probably just because of the haircut. He's got to get rid of it now. You know, baseball players are superstitious. Well, some of them are just stitious, but a lot of them are superstitious. And I don't know. I feel like I'm changing my hair color after that game, dude. Get him out of here. Mustache got to go. Throughout the day, guess a little bit of news. Max Scherzer left his game with an injury. He said it was related to the thumb. Jose Ramirez left that game due to a sprained wrist. So we'll see if he gets the day off today. That certainly dampens the Guardians lineup. Trey Turner was scratched for the Phillies. Mookie Betts, double dong walk-off, wasn't in the Dodgers lineup. So here we are early into the season. Got a couple of Izzy OKs to look out for, and Manny Machado left the game too. That's another big one for them. He had calf tightness, so gotta assume he probably doesn't play tomorrow. A lot's been made of Rafael Devers' very slow start. He has a record-breaking bad start. We're talking Chris Davis numbers of strikeouts as we crank up the Red Sox season over there. So that is a little bit of bullet points from the day. We are going to research the Sunday slate for baseball and see what kind of information we can pull away, get some leans and tells as we prepare to make our daily fantasy player pools, our same game parlays, our prop bets, whatever it is that you do with the baseball information. We're going to do our darndest to know as much as possible pre-flop about what we're dealing with. I got to say, I feel like we've been really, really strong the first couple days as far as uncovering some gems, some information, what to look out for. And I'm already getting some positive feedback from people, especially people that are newer to baseball, because, man, there's going to be a lot, and you guys are getting it done. If you guys want access to the spreadsheet I'll be referencing throughout the duration of this stream, it is behind the wall over at MLBgrind.com. Click premium membership. There's a week pass, month pass. Is there a 2-week pass? No. Week pass and a month pass and a yearly pass. Should there be a 2-week pass? There used to be. I have to think about it, right? I don't know. And then once you do upgrade, click members portal, get the link to the Discord, get the link to the spreadsheet. We had Aaron Judge as our number one hitter yesterday. Oh, man, he was only owned by half the field, so yay us. No projections. I know baseball. Let's go. What's up, Pojen? You play third base? Yeah. You can't, dude, you're literally just a DH now, and you're not doing that. Come on, bro. Put it together. No, I would assume this is just going to be a weird blip in the story of Rafi Devers this season, but yeah, rough start for him. But yeah, a little bit of humble pie after the Alex Bregman offseason controversy. I didn't see a lot of implied run totals yet. I'm like keeping an eye on that. Let me see if I can find some MLB run lines daily. I don't know. ESPN MLB odds. Here we go. That's for tomorrow. Okay, so we do have some. So let me keep this up here in case we need to go back and forth here. All right, so remember, this is the night before, guys. I don't know weather. A lot of these games are very early start time, so weather has to be really long all day for me to be over cautious about expecting them not to play. Outside of pitching, like you guys follow Kevin Roth, if storms are projected to come in third, fourth, middle innings and cut a game short, yeah, then we got a problem. But right now, we're going to really focus on just the matchups, just the numbers, and the information that is a little bit more static, a little bit more controllable. The Braves suck. What up, Catalza? Brewers at the Yankees, game number 1 on the docket. Aaron Savali taking on Marcus Stroman. Brewers trying to get a piece of their manhood back after yesterday shellacking. Savali on the bump. 3 spring games for him. 7 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 72 pitches on March 19th. We're not playing Aaron Savali today. That's not what we woke up to do. There's really no redeeming qualities in his metrics, right? He's not a high strikeout guy, and this is a slate where we're going to be leaning on a few other better options than we had yesterday when it comes to strikeout potential. And we sure aren't that excited to pitch against a team like the Yankees, especially coming off a hot day yesterday. So Savali, I would probably not pitch him against many teams, but I'm not pitching him against the Yankees today. So not needed to get there. I am worried about these numbers for his sake. A 1.8 home run per 9 last year to lefties, 1.5 essentially to righties last year. The hard contact, the fly ball rates, the sub 9% swing and strike rate. There's a lot of don't let this guy let these guys make contact in his numbers. So immediately we're going to throw the Yankees in the interest ranking as far as rostering him. And no consideration for me to introduce Aaron Savali into my player pool. Double check run totals for this game. 8.5. Yankees are -145, so healthy favorites. The Marcus Stroman was involved in a little bit of controversy in spring training, or in the off season, I should say, because he wants to be a starter. He kind of doesn't accept that he kind of sucks. And then Garrett Cole got hurt, and then okay, we kind of need a starter to eat some innings. 5 spring games for Marcus Stroman, 12.1 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 5 homers, a 265 average, a 138 whip with a 1 ground out to air out ratio in spring. Historically, we know Stroman as a ground ball contact guy, inning eater that could serve a purpose, and he had a really solid year a couple years back that kind of got him a look by the Yankees. Lost in the 20 runs of offense yesterday for the Yankees was some very bad defense. What was I want to say they had 5 or 6 errors. Yankees errors. And 5 errors is what I got. 16 runs. Oh, wait, yeah. So they played a very sloppy brand of defense yesterday, and they're going to be put to the test right away with a contact pitcher like Marcus Stroman, sub 17% K rate. We saw some Volpe miscues. A lot of what looked the worst was Goldschmidt at first base. One bad throw by Max Fried got him off the base. Volpe kind of rushed a throw, or he had a jumping throw to first. So I want to say it is all Goldschmidt's fault, but he was involved in a lot of the nastiness, and we're going to get a lot of ground balls, and a lot of balls have to be thrown to first base here. So there is an avenue for the Brewers to kind of scratch and claw their way back into redeeming themselves after yesterday. So I'm going to say Marcus Stroman's not that interesting to me, and I don't think he's included in my player pool today, much like Aaron Savali. And then I'm looking at some Brewers bets. The home run problem in spring is alarming, and going back to the last 2 seasons, over a 1 home run per 9 to both sides of the plate. Essentially career highs in that regard, and we saw a rise in hard contact rate to both sides of the plate. The barrel rate just under 7%, so still reasonable. But I'm just I'm a little bit worried for his sake, and to be honest, I'm kind of over Marcus Stroman right now. So if he gets a little bit more of a humbling, it is what it is. But I think this game has all the makings of a Sunday special, and offense should shine on both sides. So certainly get into some Brewers bats as well. No pitchers for me. And what was the over under 8.5? I think it was 8.5 with it's about 50-50 on the on 8.5 itself. So I don't know. I'm kind of here on the over. We did see the Yankees obviously didn't have to use their good bullpen arms yesterday. Neither did the Brewers. They saw Jake Bauers in the game throwing lobs at the end. But that is good news for Devin Williams, who threw 30 pitches on opening day, looked kind of rough, had an off day, and now he had another day to kind of bounce back. So if the Yankees do need to cut this game in half, they certainly have some upper echelon arms to maybe come in and put out a fire. But we'll see what kind of leash Marcus Stroman has. And I think a lot of that might just be contingent on the scoreboard, whether or not his offense is doing well. So give me Yankees, give me Brewers bats, not touching either pitcher. 5 errors, yeah, that was tough. That's not what you want. Yankees third baseman was the worst. It's tough out here. You talking about Jazz? Be back. All right, Pojan, appreciate that. Yeah. Let's move on to the next game here. Phillies at the Nats. Aaron Nola taking on Mitchell Parker. Aaron Nola had 4 spring games, 14.2 innings pitched, 17 strikeouts for Nola, 3 homers, just a 180 average allowed, 102 whip. That's what you want. 71 and 79 pitches his last 2 games. So reasonable expectation for him to be probably around the 90 pitch mark, which is probably going to be enough to get through 5 or 6. So might be able to nab himself at least a shot at the win. 6 might be stretching it to get into quality start territory on Fanduel. But I'm not going to over squeeze him for that on the first time through the rotation, right? Minus 165 favorites on the money line are the Phillies, with a pretty heavy lean towards the Phillies offense to put up some runs here. So Nola's certainly in play here, but let's kind of push back on him and create reasons why I wouldn't be totally enamored. And I think the one screeching halt stat that I don't love is this 21% K rate to lefties last year, down 3% from the year prior. And this is a Nats lineup that projects extremely lefty heavy. I got just 3 righties in the projected lineup, but the lefties in that lineup, outside of a small sample on Wood, don't have the crazy strikeout numbers. Probably an aggregate 18%. So Nola's certainly a high talent guy that I wouldn't hate betting on. And he could neutralize this 1.6 home run per nine to lefties he saw last year with the Nats Park. You know, they had a 19%, or excuse me, just 2% below average in homers, so that's not too bad. But the K rate, the lefty K rate's interesting. K rates drop here too. I think there's enough pushback for me on the Nola overall matchup if we're just straight up chasing ceiling. But I wouldn't talk anyone off the ledge if they wanted to just play Aaron Nola just because he is a good pitcher. 11% swing and strike rate last year, 7.2% barrel rate, 1-4 overall K rate. I loved Jesus Luzardo yesterday. Him and Little were my top 2 pitchers. And I thought that this matchup certainly presented itself to be a better matchup for opposing lefties. And then we've been kind of talking about this shadows issue that Nats Park in the daytime kind of presents. I tried to go back to last year and kind of like split hairs and kind of look at the day games, and I was just like, man, I don't know. This might be a little goofy, but so far we have seen, to start this season, Mackenzie Gore, 13 strikeouts. After that game, Alec Boehm blamed the shadows for them not being able to see the ball, and then we saw Jesus Luzardo, a lefty, rack up a bunch of strikeouts. But both of those pitchers do have strikeout potential, so it's not like I expect like Antonio Senzatella or some random soft tossing lefty to go over here and all of a sudden be a strikeout guy. I just am kind of looking for spots to quantify how often a good strikeout stuff pitcher goes to Nats Park in the daytime, and to see if there's like an average boost there. But I kind of ran out of time to look into that, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on. Nola, of course, can get strikeouts with the best of them, so we'll see if that's something that is true here. Remember, Trey Turner got scratched yesterday. I'm not completely sure what's going on there. So keep an eye on that lineup today. Obviously, this lineup projects better for fantasy potential if Trey Turner plays. This is just an insane lane of green against a righty here. 275 plus average against righties for 1 through 7 in the projected. The ISO aggregate's about 200 on 5 of these guys. The OPS is nuts. And the strikeouts are a little bit elevated. And now we talk about Mitchell Parker, who kind of neutralizes upside on strikeouts generally. 20% K rate last year overall, 18% to righties. He actually struck out lefties at a 26% clip in spring. He threw 76 pitches in his last outing, 9 innings pitched throughout spring, just 5 strikeouts, allowed 2 homers, but a 188 average allowed and a 1.11 whip. So not a lot of traffic, but putting the ball in play here. And if you're gonna dare Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Max Kepler to put the ball in play, maybe even see like a Brandon Marsh if we lack Trey Turner, you know what I mean? I'm right back on the Phillies offense, right? So let's make our little ranking here. I'm gonna go Phillies offense. I'm gonna go Nola, but I think I'm gonna be pessimistic on Nola, and I'll be looking at the field ownership to see if I could be the odd man out. I don't know that we're gonna have a bunch of coagulated ownership, a lot of congestion on one team so far. Looking at the slate, we might with the Yankees. There might be a lot of people chasing 20 runs. But if Nola like spikes as one of the top 3 owned pitchers, I might talk myself into justifying going the other way with the average to below average K rates, the struggles last year with lefties. You know what I mean? But just in and of himself, betting on talent, he's got to be in the pool, at least cracking the book open on this slate. And what about Nats bats here? If we wanted to pick on Nola, looking for a long ball, I don't really got much. James Wood has the highest ISO to righty since the beginning of last year. Also has an extremely high K rate. So against a guy like Nola, that's kind of a coin flip. So I guess if it's this rough for me to pick a Nats, then maybe that's more justification for me to leave Nola in the interest ranking for me, right? Let's get caught up on chat. Phillies offense kind of trash on DK because Schwarber and Harper are both only first base. That sucks. That's a great point. At least on Fanduel, you can kind of util them up. And also on DK, the Phillies are going to cost you some money. $5,800 for Trey if he plays. $56 for Bryce. $5K for Bohm. $5,900 on Schwarber. Yeah. That's going to be hard to feel great about. What's that? Judge is 63. Yankees are up there too. Hey, man, I'm cool with tight pricing off the rip, But the pricing being tight this early for offense, I mean, what am I trying to say? I feel like pitchers have a lot of room on their pricing right now, and there's still some hidden value. So I'm not overreacting to somebody being 6K. If Schwarber hits, a homer, a 3-run shot, he's fine. And there's going to be pitchers that you can offset it with. But yeah, they're trending in the right direction as far as trying to tighten the game a little bit, I guess. What up, Paul? Been a long time. How you been, dude? Glad you're still doing your thing. Been with you back. You was with Josh. Anyway, stay up for sure, Paul. Appreciate you stopping by. A lot of people don't know that I'm back. I guess changing the name of the channel doesn't help. And I haven't really been pushing the streams too much because I don't have a deadlock scheduled time yet. But you guys that have been here, you guys know I've kind of discussed the plan is to present daily content as much as possible throughout the baseball season and just be hyper-focused on baseball itself and not stretch myself thin like I did last time on all the sports. That way I can still have a real life and get hit with chair shots on Sundays. You know what I mean? Next game on the docket, Orioles taking on the Blue Jays. Tomoyuki Sagano, huh? You can. Never mind. Taking on Chris Bassett. 5 spring games for Sagano. 85 pitches on March 20th. 13 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, a 191 average, 1 whip. I wrote hip hop anonymous. 0.64 ground out to air out ratio. In Japan, he was a contact pitcher with a walk problem. You look at last year, 6.38 K per 9. I guess his walk problem wasn't that big last season, but prior to that, 174, 159, 195 walk per 9. But the FIP is good. The whip is good. BABIP is kind of crazy. But the strikeouts are not really his thing lately. So the fact that he had 15 Ks and he had more Ks than innings pitched in spring training, I don't want to say misleading, but it could be misleading, right? We take a look at the Zips 3-year projections. They got 73 strikeouts at 110 innings pitched, so they got him on par with not being a strikeout guy, and they also corrected for his walks per nine as well, 1.72 walk per nine. So I think I got to stay away, especially against a team like the Blue Jays, which we've seen this series kind of have some pop. It's been a little bit of a slugfest both ways. So I don't see myself getting to Sagano. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Chris Bassett on the Blue Jays side, 5 spring games for him, 18 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 150 average allowed, 106 whip. He threw 92 pitches in 5.2 innings on March 23rd. So he has stretched out, but the matchup is the matchup, and it is not a matchup I love picking on. The Orioles nor the Blue Jays are teams I'm getting out of bed to pitch against. So absolutely will not play Sagano. I was not really there on Max. The only thing that had me looking at Max was his price point, but I ended up just full fading him, not celebrating the injury or him leaving the game. But I just think long term this season, my process is not pitching against a healthy Orioles team, and especially with a contact pitcher. So Chris Bassett, 22% carry rate last year, 1.46 whip, 4.52 expected ERA. I don't think either pitcher kind of does it for me here. So naturally, both offenses got to be in play. I think I'm going to go Blue Jays first and then Orioles. A guy with a high walk rate and a lot of contact profile sets up a big inning out there in the turf, right? The turf of Rogers Center, too. So I think that's a good spot for the Blue Jays to have a couple multi-run innings against Sagano. So I'm in on this game offensively. Let's go check out the totals for this one. 8.5? Yeah, okay. I don't know. I would probably be pressing the over button on that one. And just hoping for a little shootout here. But then, again, that's not to disrespect Chris Bassett. Run prevention-wise over the years, it's not like he's a gas can. I just don't. I mean, you letting this team put the ball in play and vice versa. Good luck. So just the offenses here for me. No pitchers. What the bond detector say about the Yankees? I missed a home run parlay that could have been. Again, it's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is essentially always going to be number one on the bomb detector, like almost always. Him and Ohtani basically are every day. Today, Judge was at the top of the bomb detector, and it was like not even close. And then tomorrow, Judge is right back up there. So, but that's just who he is, man. The metrics that the bomb detector really considers, the pull rates, the hard contact, the fly balls, the barrels. I mean, it's a chapter of StatCast that Judge has literally written. Matter of fact, I think today I read, is it 4 or 5 barrels in a game? A record set by Judge. Judge did it again today. He's just insane with it. But yeah, it wasn't that crazy that they got to Nestor. It was just insane how efficiently they did it right off the rip. But I said it yesterday. I mean, Nestor's been a funky pitcher. If anyone on the planet has a tell on Nestor, it's the Yankees and the pitching staff that has worked with him and tried to correct him. And then just in and of himself, it's not like he's some like finesse flamethrower. He got a lot of his outs by just being a little funky and a little bit lucky. So wasn't really shocked, but obviously can't really expect 20 runs in a game. Yeah. You see the story about the new Yankee bats? Yeah, I did. It's interesting, but it's all within the rules. Ton of Japan talent this year, right? Especially pitching. Yeah, a lot of imports. Because Japan is really good at baseball. But their pitching is usually a little different than us historically. It's been like... soft toss and splitters, right? Contact guys that are hard to hit. It's just kind of lately we've been seeing a little influx of some true strikeout artists, like Roki Sasaki, who left today's game, and even Yamamoto has been doing pretty good on this side of things. But historically, they've been a little bit more like Sagano, where they do some soft contact, like Masahiro Tanaka type. You know what I mean? With especially with splitters. Let's move on here to the Giants at the Reds. Robbie Ray taking on Nick Martinez. Robbie Ray had 5 spring games, 17.1 innings pitched, 20 strikeouts, a 0.63 whip, 156 average allowed, 3 homers. He does that. 73, 74 pitches in his last 2 appearances. He'll be up against this Reds offense today that share an over-under of 8.5. Dude, is this just like a standard line? Every game's at 8.5. I feel like that ballpark should be a little bit higher. But Robbie Ray, historically, incredible strikeout stuff with the ability to give up homers because he leans on a fastball quite a bit, right? But this Reds team, I'm not going to call them anemic, but I'm not too terrified of them. Ellie De La Cruz, Jamer Candelario, the 2 largest problems, I think, as far as pitch type connection goes. They do struggle, or have struggled, I should say, against the slider. Only Ellie and Spencer have a plus rating against the slider, and it's not that plus. So, could we be flirting with some Robbie Ray exposure here? I think it's a strong maybe. K rates are kind of all over the place, but I think depending on the lineup that the Reds do roll out, I wouldn't call you crazy for a couple DraftKings shares of Robbie Ray. Nick Martinez had 4 spring games, 10 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, a 147 average allowed, 1 whip, 76 pitches on 318. So good real life pitcher stuff right there. Is he going to be over a strikeout per inning guy in the entire regular season? I'm going to lean no. 20% K rate last year, 23% the year before. But to his credit, double-digit swing and strike rates the last 2 seasons has kept the whip down. So it's not necessarily somebody that profiles as a gas can. Matter of fact, the barrel rate's been pretty clean too. So I do think there's some, it's not fun clicks, right? It's not sexy clicks, at least, especially not the Nick Martinez side. But I definitely think there's some merit in at least introducing the pitchers in the top hitters park into your player pool right now, especially on DraftKings. 6,600 on DraftKings for Nick Martinez feels like there's a little room for upside, especially considering this lineup that the Giants throw out have just 2 guys with a sub 20% K rate against righties. It's not a fun click, but yeah. And this is going to be a 4 corners game, pretty much just because it's Great American Ballpark, and you might get the daytime explosion out there. But both teams have looked pretty meh so far. Not a great hit for average team, really on either side, but especially on the Reds. If we're targeting the Reds, we did see McLean get a homer yesterday. Ellie De La Cruz obviously has a lot of pop and a lot of speed. He's 6K on DraftKings, but that's him and McLean are leading the charge in terms of pricing. But once you get past him, it does fall down a little bit. Jamer Candelario, Santiago Espinal look interesting, but yeah, nothing's fun about this game in terms of rostering for DFS. But you got to respect the park and kind of got to respect the range of outcomes, especially, I think, on the pitching side. I might get to that 6,600 Nick Martinez price a little bit more. Are we talking about a couple of these 6K hitters? Something like that might be the glue. He's essentially just got to pitch a 3-run double or something. We'll keep it moving. Pirates at the Marlins. Andrew Heaney taking on Max Meyer. Heaney, 4 spring games, 12.1 innings pitched, 7 Ks, 4 homers, 2 in each of his last 2 games, a 340 average allowed, and a 1.86 whip. Andrew Heaney, historically, strikeout ability, a little bit of missed bat potential, right? 12% swinging strike rate last year, 11.1% the year before, but he's been an extreme fly ball pitcher, and that has led to some baseballs bleeding across the wall, especially with a 9% aggregate barrel rate the last 2 years. With that said, the Marlins, boy, the Marlins are the Marlins, right? There's not a lot to like offensively, and we've seen that through the first couple of games. So, if I want to paint a picture for Heaney's implosion, I mean, it's going to be pretty top heavy here. I think Derek Hill projects the best right now. 978 OPS against lefties since the beginning of last year, 333 ISO. We talked about how a lot of times the splits against lefties can be inflated and be a little deceptive just because the lack of sample size, right? You're going to rack up your versus righty at bats a lot faster than your versus lefties, but it is what we got. Same with Dane Myers. There's a couple names, a couple of NPC created character names that are really white. Derek Hill, Jonah Bride, Dane Myers, Eric Wagaman. Like, what are we doing here? But that's what I would look at if I'm trying to steal a cheap home run. Derek Hill might be the most intriguing just because he's like 2,500. Let me see what kind of sample. I feel like we looked him up last night, chat. I don't know. Last 2023, 62 at bats against lefties last year, 5 bombs, 306 average. What's the batted ball profile? I forgot to go big screen on this. My bad. Y'all tell me. Go big screen. Against lefties, 37.5% fly ball rate. No infield pop-ups. 35% hard contact. 35% pull rate. That's good. What about 23? 23, just 13 at bats. Not really anything to go off. All right. I feel like we looked him up last night. Boy, I don't want to pitch Andrew Heaney today. 7,500. I'm going to leave him off the list here, but he might be one of those guys. I don't think you're crazy if you're trying to fill out the back end of a 150 portfolio, eating some chalk and trying to offset it. Max Meyer, 5 games for him in spring, 13 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, a 260 average, 108 whip, 1.7 ground out to air out ratio in spring, 65 pitches on 325. So less than a strikeout per. And going back to last year, 57 innings pitched, less than a 19% K rate. Not much to love there. Contact pitcher, put the ball in play. Could be a problem for a team like the Pirates that have been so aggressive, especially on the bases. We go to team leaders so far. The Pirates have stolen the most bases in all of baseball through a couple of games so far. 8 stolen bases thus far. And, yeah, I talked about this last night as well. If, look at that, a 1 point for Jesus H, bro. If you suck and you get on base, make stuff happen, and that's what they've been trying to do. And they've really been picking on the pitching staff and the catcher staff of the Marlins here. So kind of the same thing. Max Meyer, high average allowed to both sides of the plate last year. High power allowed in terms of home run per 9. A 14% barrel rate sounds insane, actually. What's the sample? Like, how many batted ball events are we talking that he's at a 13%? All right, it's not on this page. Let's go to Baseball Savant. Baseball Savant. What's up, RC player? Hope you're doing all right. Did you guys see that Aaron Bummer double out today? That was tough. Max Meyer led the league last year in barrels per plate appearance. And we're talking 180 batted ball events, which it's not like 600 like Logan Webb, but there's enough there to be like, yo, dude, we gotta maybe not do that. And that's max. See how far down do we get from it? I guess we just go here. 25 barrels with a 47.8% hard hit. Dude, Max Max he's daring people. Does have an elevated ground ball rate, especially to lefties. And this ballpark is probably going to bail him out. Matter of fact, I have to see it now with numbers like that. We'll go to home run splits per ballpark. Last year he allowed 14 homers. If he would have pitched in Cincinnati, he would have allowed just 2 more, 16. I like looking at that. Okay. So he's in trouble against a really good team in a better park. Now, this is a park that suppresses homers 15% below average, but it does allow lefties to scrape the wall at 3% above average. So O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds, aggregate 187 ISO, over an 800 OPS. And you can dip into O'Neal's 30% K rate with the fact that he strikes out lefties at just a 19% clip. So I got to imagine O'Neal Cruz is going to look pretty chalky tomorrow in terms of potential homer allowed or homer accrued. The only saving grace that might push back the bomb detector as far as what it's considering is the ground ball rate being 55%. But with a guy like O'Neal Cruz, if it's a good home run matchup and it's a decent hit for average matchup, that's all you need, because he can give you home run points if he just gets on, because he's just going to steal at will. What is he at, 5 or 6 stolen bases of those freaking 8, I think? Maybe 4. Oh, it hasn't updated. He's got crazy speed too. So, and Tommy Pham is gone too. So yeah, I think I've been saying it the first couple slates, and it's not like they've been popping off. But maybe a substack potential here in the Pirates. Pham, Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz. It's not fun to click Joey Bart and Andrew McCutchen, but the ISO numbers are still there. We saw a double from McCutchen 2 games ago, and they can get on base. But I think substack, we'll go Pirates. Substack. How about that? And then I don't want to play Heaney, but I understand it if you take a shot. And then Marlins are probably just one-offs for me. Let's see what the total is on that game. 7.5. Yeah, they're not getting a lot of juice for upside, so we just kind of hoping for a no strikeout yucky game. But I do think there's some hope in the top of this Pirates lineup. Move on to the next game here. Rockies at the Rays. All right, guys. If I've been putting you to sleep here, I'm about to put you on. But I think this guy is going to end up exploding everywhere tomorrow. But if you guys are the sports betting types, you make prop bets right now. Open up your app, whatever you do. Look for Taj Bradley. See what you can get. I took a peek before I went on. And Bradley was at like 6.5 Ks, but the juice was already slamming the over. At minus 125 right now for the over 6.5. I feel like that was at 150 a minute ago when I looked. 125. So 125 is like, I'm still on that heavily. I think if you guys if you have fun with parlays, now don't kill me if this doesn't hit, but some of you guys that do the strikeout ladders, Raj, I don't know if you're out there. This is a legitimate 10 strikeout matchup. just straight up. And I'm going to go over a couple things that will make you more excited, because we're about to go all in on this dude after the little bit of research that I did. 3 spring games for Taj Bradley. In his last appearance, 101 pitches. That's insane to let a pitcher throw 100 plus in spring. I was like, that can't be right. I thought it was a mistake on the website. And then I went to Twitter and I saw a bunch of different people kind of talking. Yeah, 100 pitches. Another thing I saw is that he's added a new pitch to his repertoire. He calls it a cutter slider. And I don't know how they... I don't know how StatCast kind of reads it, but in that last outing where he threw pitches that registered as a cutter, he got a whiff on 50% of them. This is from running from the OPS. Now, 101 pitches, he only threw 5.1 innings. So he struggled getting some outs, but this is the freaking Rockies, man. I'm here on that. And the strikeouts weren't there. So maybe like people that aren't diving this deep may not be as excited. But he got 16 whiffs total, a 28% whiff rate, 30% CSW, and his cutter had a 50% whiff rate, 6 out of 12 with 80.9 mile an hour exit velocity. Now, I'm giving you 100 pitch count in his first start against the Rockies of Colorado, which have to be aggregate the highest strikeout team in all of baseball since the beginning of last year. 27, 28, 28, 28, 34, 26, 24, 22, 35% K rate through and through. This is insane. So 6.5, I would I would have some fun with that prop tomorrow, and ladder it maybe even to 10, because there's enough bullets in the tank. And I don't, Kevin Cash could screw us and go out there and save his guy, 5 or 6. But I don't know. And they went to extras yesterday, right? Let's go look at the Rays Rockies box score yesterday. Or was that the Pirates game that went to extras? I think I'm thinking Pirates. Yesterday, they let Little go 6 innings, and then Garrett Clevenger, Manuel Rodriguez, and Kevin Kelly all came out for an inning apiece. By the way, Little 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. I don't know, man. I just got it right now for Taj Bradley. And I think by the time, lock hits, projection systems, and other people that are smart are going to see this. But I feel like if you are getting to the lines early enough, man, see what you can get on Taj Bradley, and maybe have a little fun with a ladder while the odds are good. Take the over 9.5 or something like that. Just have a little fun with it. Just an insanely good matchup for a crazy pitch count. The guy already has almost a 13% swinging strike rate last year. It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. I just out of curiosity, Rockies against the cutter, which it's not even right here. Negative outside of Brenton Doyle. So good spot. So Taj Bradley will probably be my favorite pitcher on the entire slate for both sides. And at 8,200 on DraftKings. That's borderline blasphemous. I cannot wait for him to get shelled by the worst team in existence. Tampa rain all day Sunday. All right, well, keep an eye on that. That certainly could dampen things. But from where we're at right now, Bradley's just an insane spot. So when it comes to pitchers and rain, we like to see a delayed start. If the stuff's supposed to come middle innings, then it's a little scarier. But keep an eye with like Kevin Roth or something for the weather tomorrow. Ryan Feltner on the bump for the Rockies. 5 spring games for him. 12.2 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 234 average with a 175 whip thanks to 11 walks. He had 2, 5, and 3 walks in his last 3 games. 75 pitches on March 24th. Trying to see if run lines. Yeah, there we go. I don't see rain on this, what I'm looking at, but I'll take your word for it. 140, 240. We'll keep an eye on that. Because I'm so excited for that spot for him. I'm not excited to play Ryan Feltner, so I'm not. Sub 20% K rate last year. Even though he had more than a strikeout per inning in spring, the walks were a problem. And last year, walks weren't really a problem, but going to the year prior, they were a little bit of a problem. But over a longer sample size, it kind of diminished that. But just his advanced metrics are just not there to click his name for me. So I'm going to be picking on him with a couple bats, assuming we can play this game, but not a lot. I think, if anything, I substack a couple guys with like a power swing, Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero, or Aranda, maybe even a Chris Morel, but not that excited to get there. You see rain all day? Yeah. I'm not a weatherman, so I don't want to over-speculate, but like I said, raining on Sundays for day games, especially, I think this is likely the last game of that series, probably. And Monday's a travel day, so a lot of times they'll see how much they can wait it out. But let's see, Tampa Bay rain, or Tampa Bay forecast, precipitation. I do see rain around the 40% percent, yeah. And that's about all I know when it comes to rain. 40%. Does that mean there's a 60% chance it doesn't? I don't know. But definitely put an asterisk next to that if you guys are researching tonight, taking notes. Because that'll be a massive curveball to the slate, and also would mean a lot for the ownership or lack thereof for Bradley. By the way, the Rays minus 200 favorite with a 5.1 implied run total. So there's some juice in that run total to pick on Feltner a little bit. Let's move on to the next game. Angels at the White Sox. This game, there's a couple games I see that could be impacted by rain. This is also one of them. And then the St. Louis game. This one looks a little bit more dangerous rain-wise than the Tampa one. So keep an eye on that. Jack Kochenowicz, Davis Martin, 2 guys I probably don't play, so I'm not going to spend too much time harping on them, but 5 games for Jack in spring, 17.1 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, a 177 average, 0.92 whip, or a 1.2 whip. I don't know what I typed, 1.2 whip. I think I mean ground out to air out. For Martin, 3 spring games for him, 7 innings pitched, 6 Ks, 53 pitches on 324. So neither one of those spring campaigns are going to sell me on rostering either one of these guys. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean I want to pick on them. Angels have been anemic. The White Sox are atrocious. So you're just kind of hoping for sloppy baseball that doesn't win a tournament. But we're keeping, like I said, keep an eye on the weather for this one. The Angels have a 4.6 run total. White Sox 4.1. You're just kind of hoping that there's not a slate breaker in the rough. Kochenowicz has an elevated ground ball rate to both sides of the plate. Does have a 163 homer per 9 to righties. If there's wind, it might mean, or excuse me, if there's rain, it might mean there's wind in Chicago. So if they do force some play. Maybe that's an extra boost for a guy like Mike Trout or Jorge Soler to get into one. But that's all speculatory at this stage. So right now I'm seeing neutral wind. So keep an eye on that. And then on the White Sox side, if I wanted to, or excuse me, that's inverse. Davis Martin at 1.14 homer per 9 to righties. If there's some wind, it would be beneficial to like Trout and Soler if it's blowing out, right? Just an ugly game overall. I just really don't think I'm here at just about any facet of it. Davis Martin, 12% swing and strike rate, but a 21% K rate. If you want to see some more Ks if you're a White Sox fan. Move on to the Guardians game. Guardians at the Royals. Tanner Bibby taking on Michael Wacha. 3 spring games for Bibby. 14.1 innings pitched, 12 Ks, a 180 average, 84 whip. He was scratched on opening day with food poisoning. So for all intents and purposes, he's ready to go. Last year, 26% K rate, 12.2% swing and strike rate. Pitcher's Park, but this is a Royals team that does not strike out at a high clip. So just kind of a scrappy spot. Don't mind if you're there. I don't know that I'm running to it. Maybe on DraftKings, if I'm looking for a shot at 20 fantasy points, I might make the back end, but it's a low percentile. From under 20 or less lineups, I'm probably not introducing Bibby into the mix. Inversely, Michael Wacha on the bump for the Royals. He had 5 spring games, 15.2 innings pitched, 22 Ks, a 262 average, 147 whip, 7 homers, 85 and 80 pitches in his last 2 games. The home runs could be a problem. Just about anywhere else. But today, in Kaufman, which allows 13% less homers on average and a lot less to lefties. And this Guardians team might be without Jose Ramirez going into this one. I know Stephen Kwan hit one yesterday, but this could be a much, much more hit for average, let's manufacture runs version of the Guardians team, which could be okay for us to avoid in terms of stacking for ceiling in fantasy. And then if Michael Wacha can just get through an ugly 5 or 6 innings and three or 4 earnings without allowing as many home runs as he did in spring, then I'm okay with kind of being away from that, which is a shame. I think the Royals, though, there's enough ISO and low Ks against Bibby that I think I'm somewhat interested in putting them together. They're kind of like a poor man's Phillies to me in terms of name value versus what they can bring to the table. Good mix of speed and pop and power. Michael Garcia, we talked about him yesterday. His overall stuff, the no power, the average is low, but if he gets on, he's going to run pretty aggressively. Guy like Vinny Pasquantino hits for a good power. Bobby Witt's a good mix of both. So you can easily get to 3 or 4 names on the Royals. So we're going to put the Royals in the interest rankings. While we're here, let's put implied run total for the Guardians. It's at 3.8, and for the Royals, 3.9. So not a lot of offense to be spread via Vegas totals for either team. But I'm really just not that enamored by the pitchers, you know. Let's get on to the next game here. The Twins at the Cardinals. Bailey Ober taking an Andre Payante. Hope I said that right. This is another game to kind of jot down for range. So actually, let's do some notes while we're here, and I discussed it. Let's go to the Rays game. Let's throw some yellow in there as far as weather. Let's go to this White Sox game. A bunch of yellow there. And Royals. No, not the Royals. The Cardinals game. Let's put some yellow there. So this is just like our way of putting an asterisk. If you guys don't watch the whole stream or you're just catching this part and you're like curious about what we do, this is kind of a worksheet / index portal. And if you guys want access to this worksheet, it is behind the paywall at MLBgrind.com. And once you do upgrade, click members portal. There's a link to the spreadsheet, a link to the Discord, and this first page will tell you so much about a slate so fast, and that's where we're going to keep our notes for weather. Basically, in alliance with the color code that Kevin Roth has made synonymous with baseball weather. So I'm just going to put yellow on it now, and hopefully he gives us a good lean tomorrow, and then we'll kind of go from there, and we'll put it in the game notes as well. Bailey Ober, 20.1 innings in spring, 17 Ks, 77 pitches on March 18th. Essentially stretched out. We probably expect around 90 for him if this game is clean enough to pitch in. And the Cardinals, 69 pitches for Payante, 12 innings, 9 Ks, 326 average allowed, a 1.5 whip last year. Not much in terms of striking people out. A sub 9% swinging strike rate. It's kind of crazy. Also kind of crazy that he allows so much contact and has such a low barrel rate, with the hard contact to lefties being really, really low. And the ground ball rate being so high, and that's going to even more suppress any type of upside a stack might have in Busch Stadium. So kind of eliminates the Twins for me pre-flop, but if chaos breaks out with the weather, maybe it gets weird. But I think this might be another avoiding the game probably all the way through. Ober, if I want to pick on Ober, he does give up some homers, powers to both sides of the plate. The righty power is a little bit more consistent with his hard contact rate. Looking at the ISO from the Cardinals against righties, we got a Wilson Contreras. Cool. And Lars Nootbaar, I know he's a lefty. He is second on the team in ISO against righties since the beginning of last year. Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan, those type of guys might sprinkle in as one-offs for chip in a chair territory to get some bombs. Assuming there's no weather, just asking myself, would I play Bailey Ober in a pitcher's park versus this incarnation of the Cardinals lineup? I'm leaning no. Almost 10K on Fanduel, and we've only got 3 guys in the projected lineup with elevated strikeout rates. The rest of the lineup is like an aggregate 17%, which is elite. I just don't know what kind of upside I'm getting there at 97. 8,300. Looking for 16 and 20 as a SP2. I don't think that's a crazy range of outcome. But again, all that is tongue-in-cheek, keep an eye on the rain type stuff, right? 3.9 for the Cardinals. I only got one more game on the is this DraftKings slate? Cool. Red Sox and the Rangers next up. Red Sox have a 3.7 run total. Rangers 5. Richard Fitz taking on Jacob deGrom. Fitz at 20.2 innings last year, a 10% K rate, a 6.4% swinging strike rate. Through spring, he had 5 games, 10.2 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. So that was a lot better. 225 average, 5 walks in 10 innings. That's not what you want. 73 pitches, so he's stretched out. And then Jacob deGrom, when healthy, is one of the best pitchers that ever walked the planet. But when healthy has been a problem. 5 spring games for him, 10.2 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, 5 walks, 73 pitches on 319. So we know what history tells us about Jacob deGrom in more ways than one. We don't have a ton of sample to go off lately. 40 innings in the last 2 years, 41 innings. In those innings, 30+% K rate. So assuming that he's going to go back to even just being a 25+% K rate type of guy, I mean, he's just a all-timer name, right? 9K on DK, 10K on FanDuel. Now we start kind of tapering our expectations a little bit, like we did with Scherzer, like we did with Verlander. He's not quite at their point, but we don't quite know exactly what we're gonna get out of deGrom this season. But I think there's some beauty in that. So this might be an ownership play. If people are clicking deGrom blindly because it's Jacob deGrom healthy and you want to play him while he can, and his ownership is amongst the highest on the slate, maybe I veer the other way and just kind of hope for more meager output. With that said, Red Sox have been, well, let's say Rafi Devers has been pretty strikeout prone. He needs to right his ship a little bit The Bregman strikeout rate's pretty low. Jarren Duran's at 20%. There's definitely some strikeouts to be had in this Red Sox lineup. And we've seen guys like Eovaldi thus far who not quite at the levels of DeGrom when DeGrom is on, have success strikeout-wise. So this feels weird to be on both sides. But the only reason I would be against DeGrom as far as getting exposure to the Red Sox right now would be, one, to maybe attack some ownership, two, maybe attack a short leash because they put a lot of money into him and you want to keep him healthy. And then three, maybe he does still have a walk problem trying to find it like he had in spring. So there's an element of the unknown, kind of like tonight against Roki Sasaki. But that's purely just like taking a chance on chance. And I think sometimes you got to do that in DFS. So do we get some DeGrom? I think DeGrom on DK is more intriguing to me than Fanduel. Just because Fanduel at double-digit price point, I really want to know that I have a chance at a quality start. And I got to be sitting around 85 pitches on a projected pitch count, right? At least on DK, if he does get like 8 to 10 strikeouts, that's fine at 9K. Gives you a shot at 20. So let me do that. Rangers have a 5-run total. Richard Fitz is in trouble. So we'll put the Rangers in the interest ranking. And then a little bit of Red Sox, but I got to put just to be crazy. All right? Like no one on the planet today in DFS is paying $5,500 for Rafi Devers after having the worst start to a season of any player ever when it comes to strikeouts against Jacob deGrom. Wouldn't that just be DFS if Devers took deGrom deep? Again, it doesn't make him the play because at that price point you got to get juice out of the other 5K plus bats like the Judges and or you got to not get juice out of those guys that are higher owned. But you're probably going to get Rafi Devers at one of the lowest ownerships you will ever see Rafi Devers or have ever seen Rafi Devers in the last 3 years, based on price and matchup. And Devers has been known to smack some elite pitching, and I'm sure, assuming he cracks the lineup, that's on his mind. Now, from a baseball purist standpoint, the guy's your DH, and he's having the worst start in history. If I'm the skipper, I probably give him the day off. We're on a road game that doesn't truly matter long term. So maybe we do get some baseball lineup swervage. But just speaking out loud here from a game theory perspective, you're going to get a really low ownership next to Rafi Devers tomorrow. What up, Pojen? You didn't really miss nothing. We just kind of discovered while researching that rain could be a factor tomorrow. So if you are new to baseball DFS, welcome. Because rain is about the one of the more annoying things for us to deal with. It's so easy to just look at numbers and matchups. Sometimes we do got to deal with predicting whether or not rain will come, and that's when you get to divert a lot of frustration to weathermen like old men do, yelling at their TV. You said it was going to rain, and it never rains type stuff. So that's it for your DraftKings slate. Now, Fanduel, I believe, has the next 2 games on the slate. And this is also a 2-game afternoon slate on DraftKings. So we're gonna talk about them. Has anybody out there tried to ghost yet on my accord? There we go. Athletics taking on the Mariners. JP Sears, former Yankee great. 6 spring games for Sears, 18.1 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, a 282 average allowed, 158 whip, 83 pitches on 319. So he stretched out, if that means anything to you. What an ugly 2-game slate when you have 4 pitchers and JP Sears is 25% of the pitching pool. Main slate wise, you're not likely to get to JP Sears and his 18% K rate last year, which has picked up where it left off in spring. Also an elevated whip, even though the Mariners have been kind of underperforming or underwhelming, to say the least, to start. It's just one of those, I'm not overreacting to a couple games. It's going to click eventually. So I'm immediately interested in picking on JP Sears with some Mariners bats, just because he's a guy that's going to dare you to put the ball in play. High fly ball, high hard contact rate, high home run per nine. This park does suppress power, so we're dealing with that. We've been seeing that the last couple days, but I'm not going to not throw some bats at JP Sears. And like I said, a 1.58 whip in spring training. Hopefully, this team could take advantage of that. They got some names that I feel like should really, really be dangerous for lefties, even though the average since the beginning of last year against lefties has not really been that incredible. But ISO-wise, I still believe Julio Rodriguez can be an all-star caliber player. Cal Raleigh has had incredible power against lefties for a while. Randy Arozarena, Mitch Garver, same thing. I expect Jorge Polanco to be a little bit more valuable. So there's a couple of names I get to really, really quickly. Even if it's just a substack, man, J-Rod, Raleigh, Arozarena, Gava. I'm walking here. Jesus. That's the lane I like a lot. So give me some Mariners right off the rip. Brian, woo, the nature boy, taking on this Athletics team that a little bit more half and half in terms of K rate versus not K rate. So we're taking a shot on Brian Wu. You're digging into his sub-1 whip last year, 2.72 expected ERA, the double-digit swing and strike rate. I think there's enough reason to kind of believe in him to increase that K rate. I mean, 25% the year prior, and the swing and strike rate only dropped 1%. I think there's definitely room for improvement. So I do like that about him. AK on DraftKings, nice enough price for me to be interested. And like I said, in spring, 14.2 innings, 17 strikeouts, over a strikeout per. The average and whip is a little bit alarming. He did throw 78 pitches in his last start. So give me Mariner stack. Give me Brian Wu. Trying to get around the whip problems in spring. Remember, spring, we're not going crazy with the results. It is just what we have to go off of. The two most important numbers for me from spring training: innings pitched and pitches thrown, to know if a guy is stretched out. So, and then of course you like to see the strikeouts to be where they are, especially on a 2-game slate. I can imagine Brian Wu is going to look like one of the best options. So Mariners bats, Brian Wu. Not playing JP Sears. If Wu failed, what likely did it? Looks like against lefties, a 47% hard contact rate, a 47% fly ball rate, a 1.14 home run per nine. What lefty does it? Lawrence the Butler did it. JJ Bleday. There's a couple bats here. I'll tell you what, I can sell myself on an athletic substack. And what's the run totals? 3.4 for the Athletics. Not much to speak of. And 4.3 for the Mariners. So kind of what we've been dealing with this whole series is meh. Maybe the daytime helps out a little bit. You think DeGrom sets up to be the highest owned pitcher? I'm going to say, well, I'll tell you what. If there's no rain, I think the world watches me. And Thomas Bradley's going to be super chalk. Part of that sentence is I'm joking, but if there is rain, I definitely think that throws a wrench into everything. But I think anyone that can look at stats, matchup, and you can feel good about not rain, I think Taj Bradley should be the highest owned pitcher. But if it does rain, it's just going to be a headache. Ghost warheads are like Tony the Tiger. Ghost Swedish fish. No Judge in early tiers. No cannabis. No snacks money. Jesus. Was thinking 3 times when I saw Goldsmith. You know how I was saying, like with Rafi Devers, if I'm a skipper, it might be worth a day off. I kind of feel like that with Goldie, but also maybe not. Yankees do need to make a move. Machado got hurt, like poker next hand, next slate. Yeah, that's the beauty of baseball. I think I like Athletics more than Seattle. I guess Brian Wu. Um, what are you seeing? Is it just those that lefty splits? His righty splits are pretty elite. We'd like to see higher K rates, but I mean, 200 average allowed, 2% walk rate, ground ball rate's elite, hard contact rate's really low, barrel rate's really low. I mean, this is stifling. I do think there's some red here against lefties, but pre-flop the numbers are pointing me towards Woo over the Athletics. But I see the case for at least the lefties. Nothing prolific, yeah. All right, Cubs and D-backs. That's their last game on the slate. So the night game tomorrow is Padres and Braves. I didn't chop that one up. Probably don't talk about that one. Is that okay? Cubs. Whoops. Cubs have a 4.4 run total. D-backs 4.8. Today, I typed the names Eduardo Rodriguez and Justin Turner into a spreadsheet. What year is it? Matthew Boyd taking on Erod. Boyd, 4 spring games for him, 11.2 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 3 homers, 311 average allowed, a 154 whip, 86 pitches. So less than a strikeout per. Home runs are a little elevated. The average and the whip is high. Again, really just harping on the pitches thrown, knowing he's stretched out. We go back into his numbers last year. He did have an elevated fly ball rate, elevated line drive rate to righties. The home run per 9 was low, maybe a little bit on the lucky side with the metrics in mind, but I guess the barrel rate's under 7%. I feel like there's room for increasement, room for increase. Help me out, chat. What am I trying to say? There's room for it to increase. I feel like there's a word that involves increasing. Increasement. Is that the word? Room for increasement? That feels like it's a word. Increasement. Increasement is a rare, archaic word meaning increase or grow. Guys, I mean, I'm on the board. That's proper English. Suck my. You hear that, Mom? I know English. Anyway, I came to look at his righty home run stuff. I guess I should maybe look at his baseball savant and just look at the parks. Matthew Boyd. Expected ERA last year, 3.10. That's pretty good. Expected home runs by park. So he gave up 4. Is any park where he's been crazy? No. It seems like he's a little on the lucky side, but I guess he's not. Erod threw 10 innings in spring, 12 strikeouts, 200 average, 0.9 whip, 76 pitches his last outing. It's Erod. Last year, 50 innings out of Erod. A 21% overall K rate, 1.5 whip. Average allowed to righties kind of elevated, 289. So it's hard to get excited about either one of these pitchers. So if you're playing that 2-game afternoon slate on DraftKings, good lord. It's tough. I guess you got it. I think it's Woo and Boyd pre-flop, just looking at least K rates, if nothing else. D-backs with that 4.8 run total. They are a team that I will like against just about any lefty on the planet Earth and take some shots on. Look at this lane 1 through 6 against lefties. ISO since the beginning of last year. Ketel Marte in the 300s is crazy. Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel, Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez. All he does is hit dingers, bro. He's on an incredible start to his season. He has faced a lot of guys that have low strikeout stuff, and he is facing a pitcher in Matthew Boyd that can strike out righties at 27% clip. So Maybe he finally gets the game without one. But man, there's a lot of pop, a lot of upside here, and this is going to be a day game in Arizona. So assuming the roof is open in Chase Field, it probably becomes the hottest game on the slate, probably, right? I would assume it's like over 80 degrees in there. Texas could be hot too. I don't know if they're going to open up their roof. Yeah. And it's just been playing pretty well for offense here. So D-backs, if we get into the interest rankings, D-backs, Matthew Boyd is somewhat interesting, but this is not a strikeout lineup. So on the main slate, I probably don't get to Matthew Boyd with a lot of excitement. And Cubs, get to some Cubs action here. Kyle Tucker got him one yesterday, and they get a look at a lefty, and their numbers do improve overall against lefties as well. Matt Shaw also got a homer, his first homer yesterday. And Kyle Tucker's a guy, don't leave him out of your stacks just because he's facing the lefty. He's nuts against lefties too. So D-backs and Cubs both in the conversation easily for full slate rankage. And that'll be on your Fanduel main slate, as will the game prior. So now that we have all that, and we've looked at every game, we might have a weather problem when it comes to trusting pitching today. So that's going to be the storyline, I think, going into lock, is what do we do with Taj Bradley, who pre-flop easily looks like the best option on the slate. If we get news that we can't play him, I think that has to disperse some panic, and I think a lot of that will go to Aaron Nola, the aforementioned Jacob deGrom. We talked about reasons to take shots on Robbie Ray, Nick Martinez, so it definitely gets a lot uglier because I was ready to go borderline all in on Taj Bradley here. So hopefully we can still do that because it's such a sweet spot for him, dude. It's such a sweet spot. I like to donate to your Ghost Energy Drink Fund sometimes, just an idea. So, this channel lost its monetization when I stopped putting up stuff for a couple years. I have to get 3,000 hours of watch time back, which I don't think it's going to take that long. Yesterday we did like a 3-hour stream with like 100 or 300 views. Not saying 300 people watch 3 hours, but it'll get there pretty quickly. Maybe like in a strong month of daily stuff. Once we get back into monetization, we'll be able to have channel subs and channel super chats, stuff like that. So then, yeah, you guys can buy me a drink, a ghost if you want to. So it'll come. It's just grinding for now. Otherwise, even if you like are not looking for projections or home run stuff like that, the other way to support the channel is just get a membership at MLBgrind.com, and that'll get you at least a week's access to the Discord and to the spreadsheet. So if anybody else out there is looking to buy some Ghost, you can do so with the MLB Grind sub. You guys got any questions, comments, concerns? Like I said, it looks like this is going to be our first day of having to deal with some weather. And I haven't even begun to pretend to look at weather and how long it might rain. That's just I'm not good at that. But generally, unless it's a night slate, I don't let the weather spook me too much unless it's for sure going to rain all day and they have a real postponement chance. But with this being the Sunday, usually Mondays are the travel days, and they try to get these games in at all costs. But we're wrong. Monday is a full slate. Is Monday a holiday? Why is there so many games? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14 games on Monday? That's not normal, right? That's not normal. There's a lot of full slates coming up. Thursday is that's like NBA. Jesus. I thought we were gonna chill tomorrow night. Speaking of tomorrow night, I know each one of these streams have been at a different time. Since Sunday everything should be over pretty early outside of the Sunday night baseball game. maybe, uh, maybe we do a stream ridiculously early, like 7, 8, 9 p.m. So be on the lookout for that. Thoughts and prayers for Roth. Yeah, it's kind of some new sports bettors. Man, I hope people didn't slam like Taj Bradley, like because I mean I hope they did, but I also hope that like they don't slam him and he gets screwed by weather. Because man, on the metrics screaming at me to go crazy on Taj Bradley. So we'll be watching that vehemently. Hey, if you guys got anything else for me, twitter.com/Gundacker or X, I don't know. Otherwise, maybe Final Four on Thursday. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It just feels like that's not normal for Monday, but whatever. I'll take it. I'll take more games. I'm here for it. Look out for tomorrow. Well, when I do know what time I'll stream, I'll probably tweet it, but I also will schedule it on the YouTube channel. So if you guys are subs to the channel, just kind of keep an eye on it, and then you can check out upcoming live stream, and it'll have what time, Hopefully you guys do really, really good tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow sometime, probably in the evening, and hopefully we have a fun game or fun day of DFS tomorrow, and we make a ton of money. Not just some of it, a ton of it. I appreciate you guys as always. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.